Learning English with English Faculties. Understanding the poem, Abhisara the Tryst, by Rabindranath Tagore.
Hey everyone, and a huge welcome to all you focused learners tuning in. Today, we are exploring a true masterpiece by the legendary Rabindranath Tagore. We're looking at his classic poem, Abhisara, the Tryst. Now, whether you're reading this poem for the very first time, or you're an ISC Class 11 student looking to perfectly structure your answers for the board exams, you are absolutely in the right place. I'm going to give you a simple, clear, and totally exam-ready breakdown of everything you need to know. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the story of the two meetings, jump into character sketches for Upagupta and Vasavadatta, decode the core themes and symbols, and finally, tackle those all-important ISC exam questions. Section 1, the story of two meetings. So Tagore builds this entire poem around two wildly different encounters between a monk and a dancer. But before we get into the actual story, we really need to define the title. Abhisara is a Sanskrit word, and tryst is its English equivalent. Both mean a secret, planned meeting between lovers. Normally, you'd hear the word tryst and think of a secret romantic date, right? Well, Tagore does something brilliant here. He totally flips that expectation. He takes a word meant for physical, romantic love and applies it to a deeply spiritual encounter between a celibate monk and a court dancer. It immediately creates this amazing tension between what we expect to happen and what the poem actually delivers. The story unfolds across a very specific timeline. The first encounter happens in August, right in the middle of the dark, stormy monsoon season. Then, time passes, just about 8 months, and the second meeting happens in April, during the beautiful, bright season of spring. This timeline is literally the backbone of the poem, because it shows just how drastically the passage of time can alter the circumstances of our characters. And that contrast is just mind-blowing. In the first meeting, the weather is awful. A dark, growling August storm, yet Vasavadatta is at the absolute peak of her pride, wealth, and physical beauty. Fast forward to the second meeting. The setting is gorgeous, a calm April night with a full moon. But Vasavadatta's personal world has completely collapsed. She is sick, disfigured, and has been banished from the city. Tagore is basically using the changing seasons to show us that our fortunes in life can flip in the blink of an eye. During that first dark meeting, Vasavadatta actually trips over the sleeping monk. She immediately invites him to her luxurious home, offering him a soft bed instead of the dusty dirt he's sleeping on. But Upagupta replies with this absolutely critical line, "Woman, go on your way. When the time is ripe, I will come to you." He completely rejects the worldly temptation. He knows that right now, surrounded by all her wealth and pride, she doesn't truly need him. So he patiently waits for the ripe time, the exact moment she will need spiritual awakening. Section 2, Character Sketch, Upagupta. All right, this first character sketch is heavily tested in your ISC exams, so we need to understand exactly who Upagupta is. He's described as an ascetic or a sannyasi. Basically, an ascetic is a person who leads a life of strict self-discipline, actively avoiding material and physical pleasures. This is exactly why he is perfectly happy sleeping on the dusty earth. To him, the earth is honest and grounded. He literally couldn't care less about the fancy beds or shiny jewels that Vasavadatta tries to offer him. So, what are the key traits you need for your character sketch? Well, Upagupta is a deeply devoted follower of Lord Buddha. He is highly self-disciplined and totally detached from worldly desires. Tagore describes him as austerely beautiful, meaning his beauty doesn't come from expensive clothes, it radiates from his intense inner peace. He is completely unmoved by money or the wine of youth, which is just a poetic way of describing the arrogance of being young and gorgeous. And above all, he's deeply compassionate. He has these forgiving eyes that look right past human flaws and social status. We see the ultimate proof of his character in the spring, during their second meeting. He finds her cast out of the city, and he says, "The time at last has come to visit you, and I am here, Vasavadatta." Talk about a powerful moment. This quote completes his character arc, because it proves he's a man of his word. He kept his promise, showing up exactly when she was suffering, abandoned by society, and genuinely in need of his spiritual healing. Section 3, Character Sketch, Vasavadatta. Now let's shift over to Vasavadatta. Her journey is essentially how we learn the poem's most tragic lesson. She starts off as the absolute center of attention, the famous court dancer of Mathura. She is the definition of material success, covered in jewels and wearing a pale blue mantle, and she is incredibly proud. She's kind of blinded to the harsh realities of life. But her tragic fall happens the moment she is struck by the black pestilence, which is smallpox. Instantly, the very same society that worshipped her kicks her out of the city. That immense suffering completely shatters her ego. Just look at Tagore's specific word choices here. They're brutal. She goes from being drunk with the wine of her youth to a body spotted with sores. It is a massive reality check about impermanence. Time and disease totally destroyed her physical beauty and her high social status in a matter of months. What she thought was permanent was actually incredibly fragile. Section 4. Core themes and symbols. To really score well on your exams, you must confidently decode Tagore's deeper philosophical messages. Let's break these down simply. Take light and darkness. In the first meeting, despite carrying a lamp and wearing all those shiny jewels, Vasavadatta is actually in the dark when it comes to spiritual truth. She's ignorant. Upagupta, who is literally sleeping in the dark, actually holds the true inner light of wisdom. Then we have the dusty earth, which perfectly symbolizes Upagupta's profound humility. And finally, the chaotic monsoon versus the calm spring mirrors the shift from the dark turmoil of material desires to the bright, peaceful moonlight of spiritual acceptance. When we distill all those symbols, we get 3 big takeaways. First, impermanence. Physical beauty, youth, and fame, they are strictly temporary. Second, the clash of materialism versus spiritualism. Vasavadatta's worldly wealth vanishes the second Cygnus strikes, but Upagupta's inner spiritual peace stays rock solid. And third, true compassion, defined here as selfless service. Upagupta's actions show that spiritual love completely outshines the temporary material world. He steps up to serve suffering humanity without asking for a single thing in return. Section 5. Important ISC exam questions. Okay, this is where we put it all together for your actual exam prep. We are going to tackle the absolute most common ISC questions based on this text. Here's a classic one you are very likely to see. Why is the title, the Tryst, or Abhisara, appropriate for this poem? Take a second to remember that definition we covered earlier. For a complete, full marks answer, you want to hit these specific points. Explain that a tryst usually means a secret, romantic meeting of lovers. Then point out the irony. Tagore uses it for a meeting between a celibate ascetic and a worldly courtesan. The title is highly appropriate because Upagupta literally fulfills his promise to meet her at the ripe time. But the most important part is that their meeting is a profound spiritual union of compassion, not a physical romance. Question 2. How does the poem contrast spiritualism and materialism? Give that a thought. Essentially, this question is asking you to compare the lifestyles and the ultimate fates of our 2 main characters. Here is how you structure that response. Start with Vasavadatta. She is the perfect example of materialism, relying entirely on her jewels, her youth, and her luxurious home. But the moment disease strikes, that entire material world crumbles, and society abandons her. Contrast that with Upagupta, who embodies spiritualism. He relies on nothing but inner peace, totally content to sleep on the dusty dirt. In the end, his spiritual compassion and enduring strength outlast her fleeting worldly wealth by a mile. And our final key question focuses on the emotional climax of the whole poem. What is the significance of Upagupta treating Vasavadatta at the end of the story? This action right here is the ultimate proof of his character and really the moral core of the poem. By placing her diseased head on his knees, giving her water, and applying sandalwood balm, Upagupta is demonstrating true, selfless service, which is a massive Buddhist ideal. The significance is huge. He fearlessly touches and cares for her exactly when the rest of society runs away in terror. It proves conclusively that genuine beauty doesn't lie in physical perfection at all, but in deeply empathetic, courageous actions. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. Tagore leaves us with such a hauntingly beautiful message about what actually matters in life. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. If youth, beauty, and wealth eventually fade back into the dusty earth, what enduring legacy will your compassion leave behind? Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer today. Keep learning, trust your prep, and I will catch you in the next one.